Ahí goes, seguro que
This car.
so you gonna buy it?
So ahora lo dejé sin vallas, güey.
She got it. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, everyone. Welcome. How you doing?
Dije, lo dejé afuera sin badge.
Okay, we can please rise, please. Good morning, everybody, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Any person may appear before the court at this time that is not on the agenda that would like to come before the Commissioners Court and speak, make any comments at this time?
Judge.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Just want to inform you of
Morning.
our county jail has 61 male inmates and 5 female inmates. We also have a training that's coming up on the 13th and the 27th of October here at the Sheriff's Office, put on by instructors and other law enforcement agencies that are going to be attending. Also want to inform you that we will be assisting the City of Dallas Police Department with a not Christmas parade, but a fair parade, Jim Wells County Fair Parade, this coming weekend, next coming weekend.
Sheriff, thank you very much, Sheriff, and congratulations on the sheriff was entered into the congressional record regarding all his activities and what he's been doing. So congratulations on that, putting us on the map, Sheriff, and your men. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Sheriff. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Job
Thank you,
well.
Judge and Commissioners. As always, we thank you very much for supporting this law enforcement agency and being generous with us in all our endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
I'd just like to recognize our custodians for this is National Custodian Month. And I'd like to recognize them for doing a great job with on our courthouse and all our buildings. And, you know, they work hard, not get very much credit, but they do a great job. Thank you.
Congratulations to them on this
Our
day.
courthouse looks beautiful and the floors are shiny.
Very, very nice. Keeping up with everything. Anybody else make any comments or anything else? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 4, discuss and consider take action to approving minutes from the last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I had a second, I'm
Judge,
sorry.
I'd like to see if we could move up item number 22. It's just a presentation from Mr. Mercado, and I believe Mr. Timrak. If we can move them up, it's just,
Okay,
they got
Let me just,
other arrangements going
okay.
afterwards.
so we have all those in favor for,
Line item 22.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
so we have yay on all number 4?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passes. So before we proceed to agenda items 5 through 24, there's a couple of agenda items that we're gonna move up. Which one was it, Mr.
22?
Number 22, a presentation and discussion by County Agent Rogelio Mercado on needs assessment for Jim Wells County Fairgrounds. Agenda item number 22. Mr. Mercado, if you will, how are you doing, sir, this morning?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
For the record, Rogelio Mercado from the County Extension Office. With me is Mr. Jim Timrak, president of the Jim County Fair Association as well for any questions on our presentation this morning. I appreciate the time and your time to hear us out for a little bit on a needs assessment for our Jim County Fairgrounds. I've laid out my talking points there in front of you so you can kind of follow along, and kind of, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point. As you know, the fairgrounds, the history of the fairgrounds dates back to the 1940s when initial construction started. Over the years, the usage of the fairgrounds has varied quite a bit, and prior to the last 25, it really was a one-time a year kind of a event that was held there, which was our county fair. Fortunately, we've seen a lot of change over the last 25 years. The fairgrounds has increased in popularity. The usage of the fairgrounds has obviously has increased a lot. Our county fair still continues to be hosted there every October, along with other events such as our local car shows, church and company picnics, weddings, quinceañeras, birthdays, graduations, and the list goes on. It really has, with the improvements that have been made and the maintenance and upkeep of the fairgrounds throughout the last 25 years, the popularity really for our community has increased. It also has been a silent partner in many ways because it provides a place and a location for other trainings. One of them that I see out there on almost on a weekly basis is our Border Patrol doing trainings with their canine units. Another one, I know that our county precincts do a lot of the safety trainings there. Sometimes when you have new equipment or updates on equipment, you guys get to use that for that. Our local law enforcement also qualify at our rifle range. Of course, ourselves as county extension agents do a lot of our trainings for agricultural producers, our youth events for both livestock exhibitors and our other non-livestock projects. One of them that utilizes the fairgrounds quite a bit, and we're proud to boast about that, is our shooting sports program, which teaches safety to our youngsters, our rifle program, our archery, and now we've expanded into a shotgun, and we have volunteer leaders that run those programs on a weekly basis. Another big thing for our fairgrounds and the importance of it, I think I've seen over the years, is it's also a silent partner in emergency management. Over the years, and we don't see it, we don't bring a lot of attention to it, but it is a staging area during a hurricane or any other natural disaster for electrical companies to put their equipment there. Remember back a few years back when it was really dry and we were having a lot of wildfires to the south. I think the Forest Service staged a dozer out there just in case we needed it. And more importantly, this past year with COVID-19, our fairgrounds and the improvements to the open pavilion allowed us as a community to host some of the best testing sites and vaccination clinics at our local community. So our fairgrounds are really a great hub for that to host those things. I think it's time, and I've been here, this is going on my 27th fair, and back in '95 when I first started, we started looking at needs assessments for the community, or for the fairgrounds, excuse me. And we've taken steps every time. We've taken a few steps, and we continue to take those steps. I think it's time where we sit down a little bit more and formalize those steps a little bit better and make a needs assessment where we can, as a group, where everybody that has a vested interest in the fairgrounds, our office, the Fair Association, Commissioners Court, obviously, others, maybe the Sheriff's Department or entities of the law enforcement, because they utilize that quite a bit, is to discuss what needs we have. So I'm looking forward to try to facilitate a meeting or a series of meetings along those lines. I would like to develop a master plan for those needed improvements, prioritize those improvements, then identify those resources, funding sources that can help us meet our goals and kind of make those assessments. I know we're approaching, the need to identify how the county will distribute or utilize the funding for the American Rescue Act. I think that's a great opportunity for us as well. But there's also, with the help of Ms. Moran, the possibility of getting other grants and donations for meeting those needs and making the improvements that we need at the fairgrounds. And last but not least is to identify or develop an action plan and identify a timeline to meet those needs. Areas for improvement, some of the areas I think is public safety and accessibility. One when we talk about handicap accessibility of our fairgrounds, and different things like that. We make strides, and just most recently, Commissioner Garcia led, the improvements inside the Merchants Building to try to get the concrete stabilized, nice little ramp in the entrance. So if somebody comes in with a wheelchair, they can, they don't stumble through there. They have the accessibility. So we're taking strides and making improvements. Our roadways need a little bit more help, and parking areas, obviously, sometimes in bad weather can be a challenge. Another thing that we can do is also repair and replace aging buildings. I was reading in the catalog of the Fair Association when they celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Fair Association, which goes back about 30 years back. The Women's Building was constructed in 1952. And a group of ladies came to before court and addressed that, and then got the building built. We've maintained it, we've upkept, we've done work to it, but that's probably one of the older structures that eventually will need major repairs to it and some attention to it. Our main show arena has some drainage issues. Commissioner Gonzalez has dealt with it before. We've all dealt with it. Seating is getting old, and it's going to need some repairs. We look at liability issues every time that we're going to have an event, and that's one of them. Especially the bleachers that are set in the on the north side, and some ventilation issues there as well. We've got some fans that have been installed years back, but it still needs somewhere to push that air as well. The other thing that we can do, obviously, is to enhance the use of existing buildings. Our swine barn, which was constructed in approximately 2013, I believe, is about a 17,000 square foot building. It has about 5,000 square feet of concrete on it. It gets utilized only once a year because we don't have it stabilized completely. We don't remove the pins from there. It has tremendous potential if we can go ahead and remove pins on a yearly basis, concrete the floors, and have it available the same way we have the open pavilion. It can help us with emergency management or even other community events. It would be a great location to host a whole series of different kind of activities. Ventilation has already been addressed in that building. Recently, the Fair Association purchased two 20-foot diameter ceiling fans, much like the ones we have in the show arena, to enhance the ventilation there. The open pavilion, we might be able to enhance some shading, cover the north side with something that's temporary, something that's not completely, not a roll-up door, but something that would help us do something there. The Merchants Building, maybe we can enhance the interior finish of it. Original plans when the building was reconstructed was to have a kitchen in the far back corner of it, maybe some storage in the other corner as well, and add some restrooms to that facility. Every time we have to go outside, not outside, but the outside restrooms, walk outside to the other buildings, and also, enhance the way we manage our equipment there, our tables and chairs, and get some racks and things like that. So there's a long list of things to do out there, and when we do sit down and make these needs, I know this list will get further and further longer. With the American Rescue Act coming before us and funding there, I know that there's some funding that we can hopefully tap in and we can identify it. Excuse me. I believe I've already been put on that committee. If not, I would like to volunteer to be on the Community Advisory Committee and assist the court with identification of and use of those funds, and assist you guys in any which way I can.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Great information. Thank you very much.
Whatever we do here, Rogelio, it's a team effort.
Yes.
All the commissioners are involved, the county judge, elected officials, Fair Association, we're a big team, and and whatever we can do to help is,
The community.
We appreciate it. And to echo those thoughts, I tell my neighboring county agents and many other board members of different livestock shows and county fairs, we've got a great team that sits in this room, the one that sits at the Fair Association, with 30 board members there, you know that those guys, it's always hard to get along with that many people. But I'll put them out there
Y'all
and
do
say,
all
you know,
right.
they always do a
Y'all
great
do
job.
okay, y'all get the job done.
So I enjoy working with everybody. So thank y'all.
Well, thank you, Rogelio, and
Thank you.
Commissioner Garcia for maintaining that and making it possible. And Mr. Tamarack, thank you very much, sir, for your help. And we will consider all those recommendations, and I hope you are on the committee, Mr. Mercado.
Yeah, he's in my committee, actually.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yolanda, he's on my committee, right?
Yes, sir, he is. He's been, we
have
sent out the
another
letters.
Good morning, Ms. Yolanda. I didn't see you back over there.
We sent out letters to all the stakeholders, all the advisory committee members. And I'll revise the list. I'm still getting some names from some of the commissioners, so as soon as we
Right.
Okay, yeah.
revise, I'll send you a new.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you all for that presentation. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move up agenda item number 11, because I know that we have our visitors, our guests that have a flight to catch, so I'm gonna move them up to the next agenda item, number 11, presentation and discussion by, no, I'm sorry. Is it the-
Coastal Bend.
Michael, which one was it that we were bringing?
Number 13.
13, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
Agenda item number 13, presentation and discussion by Flint, Brinkley, Sergeant Whittington, architects regarding jail renovation and expansion study. You will, gentlemen? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm not Flint Brinton. He is. And I wanted to explain a little bit about the warm hands. It's not warm hands, cold heart, but I did have my third shot yesterday, my booster shot.
Great, congratulations, sir, congratulations. All right.
So, and, you know, kind of like after the second Pfizer shot, you know how you're in little la-la land for a while? I'm kind of there right now, so if I doze off, please, he'll nudge me. Anyway, my name is Charles Goodman, Charlie Goodman. I'm principal in charge of county work for Brinkley Sergeant Wigginton in Dallas. With me is Flint Britton. He's a registered accessibility specialist and worked for the Texas Commission on Jail Standards for many years as a plans examiner, and he's with me here today as well.
Welcome, gentlemen.
In terms of a project architect, Tracy is not here, but she's one of our most able architects that we have in the correctional marketplace. And she's been with us for several years now, and she would be the project architect should we be so lucky as to do this study that you were embarking upon. And so Brinkley Sergeant Wigginton has been in business for over 45 years. We're headquartered in Dallas. We do have offices in Austin, Waco, and Houston. And we specialize, and this is what I've been doing ever since 1990, is jails, courts, anything of the like that has to do with criminal justice. Worked around the world, in fact, on numerous prisons. The biggest one that I did was in Kuwait, a $1.5 billion job, and did some work down in Guantanamo Bay, which was kind of fun. Did Camp 5 and Camp 6. So you keep seeing these chicken coops that they show on the news. They don't have chicken coops anymore. So this is what we do every day, all day, is we work on these kind of projects. Never thought that I would get into that, but it's truly an interesting form of design. Moving into what our current projects are, we're working with Collin County right now on a very large addition. It's a 180-bed orientation housing unit. And this is atop a very large intake area. So the whole building is about 97,000 square feet and connects to the main corridor. This is up in McKinney, Plano area. And we are also looking at doing a second addition for them, 482-bed medical and mental health. One of the credentials that I carry is a certified correctional health professional. And that means that there's a little bit better understanding of how correctional, medical, and mental health care should be provided within a correctional environment. We work with practitioners to create meaningful spaces for for your inmates that have medical and mental health needs. So that's one of the aspects that I can bring to you and that we're going to be doing for Collin County. And before I forget, on Collin, we just bid that out, again, the 180-bed facility and an intake center. It's a huge intake center. And that came in at $392 a square foot. We were very pleased with that because that normally we're going to talk about that in a minute, but you're going to see that jail costs are going to be north of $400 most of the time, and anywhere up to $450 depending on what you build. So they're not inexpensive buildings, just right out of the chute. We're also working with Brazoria County. We're doing a very large addition for them in terms of courts. They're going to expand up to 8 district courts there, 4 county courts at law, a family court, and Precinct 1 JP court in this building, as well as all of the administration area within the county to be consolidated on one site. And so we're doing that down there. There's an EOC involved with that, and that'll be hardened to a Category 4 hurricane. In terms of studies, and that's what we are here for at your suggestion, is that we have a lot of study experience. We do them all the time. We actually do Parks and Rec studies as well. So I could have caught him before he went out. But we do have recreation people that do studies. And this one example, the small county. Prior to Waller County, we did do a study for them, and we're actually doing a study for them again. What you see on this guy here, this page, that is Waller County, and that was a complex that they asked us to do. And so the sheriff's office is to the left. The jail is kind of the silver roofed building, the long one. That's, as of right now, 216 beds. That's what that looks like. And then there's a district court, that little piece up to the upper right, that's connected by a corridor. The jail is pictured at the right upper, the courthouse is left lower, and then the sheriff's office is the right lower. There was a very interesting way that we developed those designs that the county really enjoyed. And we are actually working with them now and studying their courthouse. They've got a 55-year-old, not 55, is born in, that shot. It was built in 55, and they want to repurpose it or perhaps even demolish it to consolidate all of their other courts functions. So we are continue to work with Waller County. So on that next slide, upper left, that is the district courtroom, and then the middle top that's the connecting corridor that we have between the jail and the courthouse, so that inmates can be moved without taking them outside, but they're in a secure corridor. Off to the right, office spaces. Lower that's their intake area there. And in this particular design, we had an elevated staff position. That is, that their officers are up in an upper level, and it's rather skinny, but they're able to look down into every one of the cell blocks and monitor from above. There's the glass, if you can see, it's canted out at the bottom so that they can actually look down and see the doorway into the cell block. So that's been a popular item that we've done with the elevated staff position, to be able to watch down and into the cell block. Also, if you've got a 2-tier arrangement, which you might need based upon your site, you'll see that in a minute, that they can look straight across then from there into a second tier if we do a 2-tier arrangement for you. The lower right, that's a typical day room. That's a dormitory setting. So that would be even more economical to go with dormitories. You can only go up to 40% in Texas, but that way that you can reduce your cost by going to dormitory housing. Continuing to move on, the training room there, exercise room, intake, the evidence processing, very extensive processing area, and then the main lobby there at Waller Jail. Okay, so I'm going to let Flint continue here with the study portion as to how we conduct that. So Flint?
Just let me know. My name is Flint Britton. Thank you very much for having us this morning. Really do appreciate it. And really, that's why we're here. We're here to talk about a study. And really, the last portion of the study, or the idea behind it, is to provide you with information so that you can make decisions with it. And so that's the premise for it. So what we basically do, there's a couple of components to it. We're going to review the demographic trends, and we'll take a look at the Jail Commission recommendations. I know the Jail Commission has actually already provided an FNA for you. We'll determine the space needs of the jail and sheriff's office. We'll talk about what that looks like, analyze the site constraints and the opportunities and site utilities as well. And we'll actually have a planned concept that we'll put on the site, and then we'll establish a schedule and a budget for you. So by the time the study is done, we'll have all that information together, and you can go through and pick and choose what works best for you, or maybe arrangement of those things. First of all, what we do is review the demographic trends. When I was at the Jail Commission as a planner, I did facility needs analysis all the time, and we're going to do exactly what the Jail Commission would do. So there's two different things that we could do at this point if you wanted to proceed this way. As I said, the Jail Commission has already produced a facility needs analysis for you, and I believe they said 96 beds or something to the effect. We can go back and check that just to verify their numbers, or you could just take exactly what they've given you. So if you took what they had already provided for you as far as an FNA, then that would be a cost that we would be taking out of the study cost. But basically what they do is they go back and we look at your demographics. I mean, for the last 10 years, we look at all your daily populations, and we come up with incarceration rates. We average all those things out, and then we look at your projected populations for the future using those same incarceration rates, and it actually will tell us how many inmates that you'll need in the future. So it's exactly what the Jail Commission does. We can do it as well as you can take the, Jail Commission's review, whatever you want to do on that, okay? The next one is the actual existing building assessments. If you have an existing building that you want to take a look at, we can study it for you. There was talk at one point, we had actually met on site, and there was just talk about all kinds of stuff, all kinds of great ideas. And that's why the study came up, which was we need to sort of nail this down and corral it so we know exactly what we're going after. But one of the ideas was, maybe the sheriff's office, if that was vacated, could be used for something else. So in that case, we could actually do a study on the sheriff's office for a court, if you want to try to put court in there, or use it for something else. So that's where that would come in. We could do the assessment on our own as the architectural firm. If we get our sub-consultants involved, it'll get more expensive, in a nutshell. Those are just some pictures. This was an assessment we did on our own, and it was pretty apparent at this facility that it had movement problems, and the maintenance folks we met with said they had a lot of plumbing problems. So we really didn't need sub-consultants. The county was looking for something that they could actually have as a study and say to the folks in their county, we did assess it, and we really need to move away from it. Program development, what we'll do is we'll actually sit down with all of the department heads. So all the department heads in the sheriff's office, all the department heads in the jail. We like to get with IT and with maintenance, and we'll sit down and we'll literally talk to them about their needs currently and their needs in the future. And as we go through that process, we'll be able to figure out all kinds of different things. We'll be looking at not only the staffing, but we'll also be looking at parking. We'll provide or create these little programming blocks so everybody understands what they're looking at. because I can't tell you how many times we've actually created a plan and said, okay, it's on the plan, and people look at it and go, I don't know what I'm looking at here. You gotta remember, I don't read plans. So we've come up with these programming blocks so they can look at those and figure out just exactly what's inside their room, what's inside their office. And what's great about it is they could actually look in there and go, I need space for a filing cabinet, and I don't have space in here for that. So we can go back and we can change that. And if we need to make the space larger, we can make the space larger, because it's just a program. It's just a matter of changing the numbers. And this is sort of what it looks like. So on the right-hand side and on the very back sheet, you can see that we've got all the different spaces listed. And then off to the right, you'll see 220, 200 square feet. That's all square footage for the room. And that's all based upon what their needs are within that space. And so off to the right-hand side, you'll see the same thing. And it'll actually tell you how many folks will be in there, the number of spaces, that kind of stuff. And then we have notes farther off to the right for details. I've got to have a TV in there for whatever reason. And then what we'll have at the end is we'll actually have a summary sheet that will tell us how large the sheriff's office needs to be, how large the jail needs to be, and we'll actually have parking requirements on there as well, as you can see. Now, what's great about this is it's just the program, but we can take the square footage number at the very bottom, like that 27,346, I believe. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be. But we can take the square footages from those, and we have an idea of what the costs are. And we like to get with a contractor that we normally use that does a lot of jail work. And we'll talk to them about what they see as pricing. So we can actually give a range about where we think that facility might cost. That gives you an opportunity to respond to it and say, well, that's a little bit larger than what we were thinking. Is there any way to cut it out? Gives us an opportunity to go back and begin to cut some square footage out of the building, or even spaces. Well, we thought we might need that, but we really don't. Take that out. So we can manipulate that program before we even get to a point where we're actually doing any kind of drafting or drawing in the second phase, if we get selected for that.
So in addition to all of that, it's important to see how whatever that program ends up being fits on the site. This happens to be Waller County. They had a very big site. And then we did test fits. How are we going to fit this and that on the site? So this is the way the campus ended up looking. It's not a little bit more than that. We did actually, where you can see the two pieces of land up to the north being up, we were actually able to get an easement from those owners to create a north road to connect to Business 290. So that was very, very beneficial instead of having to go back through Road and Bridge. So this is the kind of thing that we do. We lay out the site, the choreography of the site. The jail does require a lot of deliveries, not only of goods and services, but also of people that are getting arrested. So we have to make those pathways very distinct. And it does require circulation space within the site. And then there's lots of parking. I mean, we're seeing that problem all the time on courthouse squares where we work. There's just not enough parking. And so that's a problem that we have to try to figure out. This is Robertson County as to how it laid out on its site. It's a very constrained site. So what you're seeing there is the site. So we're able to wedge it in. In terms of schedule, Flint mentioned that we would develop a schedule for you, and based upon the size of the building and the complexity of that expands or contracts depending on the complexity of what you're doing. If you're renovating something, that always takes longer. There's always things that you're not going to see, you're not going to know about in a renovation. So we'll right up front do all of that for you as well in the study, giving you the chunks of time that it will take to do the initial assessment, the study, implement it, and then design it, and then how long it might take to construct it.
Yeah, the only other thing, if I can add real quick, the bond election, if you,
Oh, yes.
if
Thank
you
you.
think about your financing and you're gonna go for a bond election, then that's gonna determine how this schedule fits into everything. Because I believe it's 90 days before you have to submit it to the AG's office. So, you know, in the way this is set up right now, that would sort of work because they probably want some sort of schematic drawing from you regarding what you're going to do along with other information. So in this case, well,
I
we
think
would
it's,
actually
I
have
think
the
it's the
S-
next one, Flynn.
yeah, we'd have to have the schematic design done before
Yeah, there we go.
before even February, probably. It's May, it's always at the beginning of May, so you walk yourselves back, and so in January, you'd actually have a plan.
To the AG,
Yeah.
along with a cost for the referendum that you would be seeking either in May. So yeah, it's whatever, it's at least 3 months before the election cycle for getting a bond, if that's the way that you're going to finance. So speaking of finance, thank you. Construction, there are hard costs and soft costs. And sometimes that's a difficult concept for people to understand. But if you think of the hard costs, that is the bricks and mortar and everything that goes into a building. You know, this is fixed equipment. Those chairs are not. That's part of your FF&E, fixtures, furnishings, and equipment. That's a separate pot of money. That's in your soft costs, but like this woodwork, that would be in your hard costs. So everything that's hard, fastened to the building, those are your hard costs. And as I mentioned earlier, we just did Collin County at $392 a square foot, which we thought was rather a bargain, because we're often seeing about, you know, $130,000 to $150,000 per bed. So if you want to use that as a guide, that's about how much your facility would cost. I believe 92 times 150,000 is something like 14 million. Some I can't remember. I did the math, but I didn't remember. So also included in your costs are soft costs. So the bricks and mortar are one thing, but the soft costs are quite another. And that would be your FF&E, your testing of materials during construction, services such as architect's fees, any of your equipment that you want to put into the building. All of that is over and above your hard cost. A lot of times that number can be anywhere from 16 to 20% of the hard cost. So just so that you get a range of how many of those dollars you're going to have, that's all inclusive, and that would be the number that you'd have to put out for, unless you've got some reserve. Anyway, that would be the total number that you would want to put out for a referendum, all the hard and soft costs. So some of the test fits, speaking of which, we applied to your site, and these are a little bit bigger facilities. We just simply took some plans of ours. This is Robertson?
This is, no,
Oh, is it Gillespie?
this is actually B.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, that's a B County jail with the sheriff's office. The jail is the kind of the pinky, or whatever color that is. That's the jail piece, and then the green piece would be the sheriff's office. So that's how, just laying B, just flat out laying it on the site, that's how it would look. And you can see what it starts to consume very quickly.
Yeah, what we're trying to show here is exactly what Charlie just said. If you drop just the jail on the existing site where you've got your facility, it eats up the entire block.
To include those two or three houses
The fire
that are there.
station and the houses in the back, eats it all up. The other idea that we talked about just briefly was, well, what if we kicked the jail across the street for whatever reason? Because you're building a jail facility so you could move your inmates out of the old jail, then tear down the old jail and maybe build a sheriff's office. Building a sheriff's office on that site is not a problem whatsoever. Getting a jail on that smaller piece of property on the other side, and the idea is to actually close that road. And that's why we pulled it. You can see the jail that we pulled it over on top of the road itself. But it's still going into the parking lot for the school. And that piece that kicks out on the left-hand side in the back is the sally port. But our thought was, well, maybe the road becomes the sally port. So you're able to take maybe that little chunk that kicks back into those housing units.
Flip it down.
Yeah, and flip it down. So there's possibly a way to make it work, but that's up to 45 beds. And so if we go to the next one, 92 beds. It looks like 92 beds will fit on that property except for that left-hand side, which is where, again, where the sally port kicks out. So if that piece comes off and slides over the road, there's a possibility that that would work.
And so, yeah, keeping in mind too, that these, we quite simply took other projects and laid them down. Your solution that we would come up with would work within the parameters that you set forth for us. You know, if this is it, or you have some nice 10-acre piece of land out in the country someplace, probably not the best idea, but that we'll make that work on the site, whatever site that you choose. One of the other costs that I might say, land acquisition. So if you are going to acquire land, that's one of your soft costs, actually, just to purchase land. And so the next one, this is showing a 96-bed completely facility on that block where the fire station is and the current jail is, keeping the sheriff's office over to the right.
Yeah, this is Gillespie County. It's 96 beds on the ground. The upper floor is courts, training, so it's 2-story. Courts, training, adult probation. And so.
Okay, so, and as you analyze what your study needs might be, that you want to be thinking about what those needs are, so that we can help tailor that and tailor our fee toward it. But, you know, we'll be looking at multiple properties perhaps, I don't know, building assessments. As Flint mentioned, if we've got to drag in mechanical, structural, electrical, all of the engineers to do an assessment that, and civil engineers, that does add some cost to it because those disciplines have to be paid for. We'll come up with a budget, schedule, and then look at all the various options that you want us to look at. So, you know, new jail, new sheriff, you know, just all the various options that you see there. So go on to the next one. And then if you can click on that.
Yeah, I think,
click.
you got to go to the bottom.
There you go. So this is one of the things that we can also do for you. This happens to be Robertson County, that we can do a 3D analysis of your facility. This would come after the study phase, but this would be like in design, schematic design or design development, when you're doing a full-blown design. But this will allow you, you know, if you can't read plans, well, most people can be able to see how a model works. And we can do that electronically these days. Right. And so, yeah, we can do the walkthrough with it. I mean, it's fairly easy to do anymore with the Revit software that we're using.
Yeah, the industry has gone to what they call BIM, and it's basically drawing in 3 dimensions. And we literally have to, with AutoCAD in the past, you could get away with things like it didn't exactly fit. Don't worry about that. They'll work that out in the field. But with BIM, it has to be perfect. It has to be exact. So because you're drawing it that way, that's why we can actually produce these. And of course, in this one, we've got glazing that goes all the way to the bottom of the floor. That's not realistic, but we did that so you could see into the spaces. One of the things I would like to do is say on the budget, the first schedule that you looked at was concurrent. That means you're building the sheriff's and the jail at the same time. The second schedule is a phased construction. That means you build the jail facility, move the inmates, and then you come back and you do the sheriff's office. And of course, it's going to go without saying that that's going to increase your cost. So anytime that you can do just one facility all at the same time, will be better for you than to wait for one to be built and then move the inmates and then do a sheriff's office or something else.
So Judge and Commissioners, thank you so much for your time this morning. That was probably more time than you were expecting.
Thank you for the presentation.
And if you have any questions whatsoever, we'll be more than happy to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions or anything, comments? There's quite a bit of
How
questions.
long would that study take?
Probably about 3 months, start to finish. And again, depending on, if we're getting into building assessments, that might poke another month. But, generally speaking, we can get them done in about 90 days.
We could actually start the programming piece, meeting with the department heads and figuring out the size of it before you even, if you're looking for another piece of property or whatever, you can still do the programming piece. And while that's being done, you can still be looking for that and trying to figure out the rest of it.
That's true. You're talking about the programming, the structure itself, right? The actual.
Yeah, getting to the
square footage.
Get into the square footage so that we can get a number to you.
Yeah.
Because
Because
I would
again-
say that if we're gonna make an investment like that, we would go with the bigger jail with 145 beds.
I don't disagree with you at all. The jail commission might have something to say about it, but, because they've done your needs analysis at 96.
Right.
I think that Brandon would probably let you bump that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how far they allow.
Yeah, when I was there a long time ago, you could do anything you wanted to, and it sort of got counties in trouble.
Right.
And then we got some calls from some representatives saying, you need to be doing a better job. And then that's when we made the change as to, no, we really need to be regulating this a little bit more. I hate to use that word, but
Yeah, well, it just keeps us within our parameters.
They asked us for COVID numbers, COVID era numbers.
Based
One of
on-
the things,
Sure.
if I may, when they did the study, they gave those numbers. Those numbers were when the COVID started. So those numbers do not reflect the real numbers of 2018, 2019. These are from 2020. So that's the reason the study from the jail standards came back at those numbers or at that number of beds. But I agree with the gentleman that probably could with Mr. Brandon Woods to try to get a 145. That's the decision that you all want to do later on.
So of course, the Jail Standards Commission and anything else that we may submit to as far as assistance or any type of funding, the study's important that we get it right on.
Oh, yes, yes.
So we can work with other agencies and once we get this thing going, it, of course, affects our, response time and what the funding, any other agencies that we may work with in conjunction with our funding. And like I said, we want to get everything right as far as location and consider all the options. We are in the middle of a residential area here and there are other concerns from other agencies, officials, if we're gonna proceed with this, that to take that into consideration, our schools and our neighborhood and all that. So all of that has to be also considered and talked
Into the mix, sure.
So, commissioners, any other questions before we? No?
Thank you.
All right, well, I believe, thank you very much for your time again. And if you, 2:00 tomorrow morning, you think of something,
Sure,
don't call me.
we'll give you a
but
call,
go
yes,
ahead.
sir. Yeah, we'll have someone, one of those agencies or somebody touch base with you and,
Yeah, I'm in Dallas, so it's gonna be a while.
all right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Y'all
you
have a
very
great
much, appreciate
trip
you.
back. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
y'all be at the annual Judges and Commissioners Conference?
We may.
Okay,
may
we'll have a
out there.
booth there, so come by and see us if you are.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Sheriff, is he on still, Sheriff? Anything else?
No, no, I don't have anything else, commissioners. Thank you for allowing this gentleman to come in. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff, for getting this going. Y'all have a safe trip. Bye-bye. All righty, that was a good, long presentation. It's a lot to consider there, but, okay. Considering, all right, I have one more agenda item that we're gonna move up, and I believe it's,
11.
which one, 11? Agenda item number 11, a presentation and discussion by the Coastal Bend Recovery Group with an update on Hurricane Harvey and Winter Storm Uri recovery progress. Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
My name is Christopher Brandt. I'm the Executive Director for Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group. We are actually the long-term recovery group for the Coastal Bend. So if you want to go ahead and get the slide going. Okay. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Okay, so one of the things that's always confusing about us is we are a long-term recovery group, and long-term recovery is just exactly what it says. It's long. And how does it differ from short-term? So I always like to explain to people, short-term is what I like to think of as the blue tarps. You know, you have a disaster, people put blue tarps on their house to protect their house from rain. It's the chainsaw guys that go out and cut up the trees, that type of stuff. What long-term is takes place approximately about 6 months-ish after the initial disaster. And the reason for that is because what we do is we do the long-term solutions to the problem. So we might replace somebody's roof. We might rebuild somebody's house. All that takes a lot more money. It takes a lot more coordination with other agencies. So it's a much longer term to do. People get frustrated because, you know, they want their house fixed the day of the disaster, but unfortunately, we have to make sure that they utilize all the resources that are available. We're not here to supplement FEMA. We want that, or somebody's insurance. We want them to go through and utilize their insurance and FEMA. And it's after that fact that we actually help those that don't get help. So you want to go ahead and go to the next. So our board is, this is a list of our board members. As you can see, they comprise of emergency managers, actually some commissioners, county judge. They're all local people here of the Coastal Bend, representing the people of the Coastal Bend. It's very diverse. Part of what I think is very unique about us is that we span the different counties, and so we don't take a one county look at anything. We're all part of the Coastal Bend, and we're all here to work together. And our board has that attitude, and our organization has that attitude. Okay, go ahead and go to the next one. So again, here's the 11 counties that Coastal Bend covers. Okay. Our mission is to strengthen regional long-term recovery by addressing and jointly resolving unmet disaster-related needs of individuals in the community of the Coastal Bend. So in order to do our job effectively, we have to stay in our lane. And part of our lane is we only address disaster-related needs. So if you had the winter freeze and you were affected by that, and then 3 months later your house burned down and it was unrelated to the freeze, unfortunately, we don't help with that. We just help people that were with things that were actually as a result of the disaster. Because unfortunately, we have limited funds, and we try to help those that meet that criteria. Okay. So our organization was started in 2005 by a bunch of emergency managers and officials who saw the need for a long-term recovery. So I'm sorry, I said 2015, the flooding in Nueces and Jim Wells County was our first. And right before we were wrapping up our recovery efforts, Hurricane Harvey hit. So we went from one disaster straight into the next disaster. And then of course there's the winter freeze. And so while we're still recovering from Harvey, we've also started with the Texas severe winter storm here in 2020. So there's a need for our organization. And we always talk about blue skies, which means when there's no disaster, but as of 2015, we're still waiting for that data to happen. So we've been very, very busy. Go ahead. So what is an unmet need? An unmet need is a basic, safe, sanitary, and secure need that is disaster related and the survivor is unable to attain because they lack either part or all the resources to obtain that need. So who are our clients? They tend to be the vulnerable population, right? People of low income, seniors, veterans, single parents, and people with disabilities. That's why we have to make sure that they go through FEMA first and we try to gear them towards other resources, and it's only after those resources have been exhausted do we then take them to our unmet needs to try to find help with their basic need. And I always say it's important to understand a need versus a want, right? Like I might need a countertop, but I don't need a granite countertop. That's a want, right? So we're just trying to deal with just basic needs, okay? So Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group, this is what our organization looks like. We have case management who go out and find these individuals. We vet the clients to make sure and do a needs assessment. We try to figure out what's their recovery plan and try to navigate them through that. So we might navigate, recently in Harvey, we might have navigated them through the GLO process, or maybe the Salvation Army, we try to connect them with Salvation Army to get their bed replaced. Construction, we actually do construction, repairs, rebuilds, and MHE replacements. We have donations and management, our grants department, public relations, and spiritual and emotional care, which is really important. But one of the things coming to this organization that I feel gets undersold a lot is the unmet needs table. And the unmet needs table is a place where disaster case managers can present cases, and the cases are anonymous. They don't know, they may know they know the city and the county where the person's at, but they don't know, their name or any of that type of information. And they present the case, and then at the unmet needs table, the funders decide if they're going to be able to help that person. And what's really unique about our unmet needs table here in the Coastal Bend is how well people here collaborate. And it's that collaboration that's so important, because one funder might say, well, I have volunteer labor, but I don't have any money for materials. And somebody else will say, well, I have money for materials. And so then they work together to help with this person's needs. And when you have a disaster like Harvey, somebody's needs become much larger than one individual group can help. So it's really important to have this place where these funders can go together and help people. Okay. So with the Texas severe winter storm, so far we've helped 131 homes restore their water. We had 740 volunteer plumbing hours, which saved us over $37,000. And we had an obligation for construction of $85,000 for this to help these people restore their homes. Every disaster is different. This disaster was very different because it tended to be single, very elderly people that were without water, or people with severe disabilities. And we're still dealing, in fact, we're helping a person here in Alice trying to get their water restored. And think about that. That was February when they lost their water. And so these people are still trying to recover from that. And it's been a very rewarding, because like I said, these people have gone without basic services for so long. So I already kind of explained the unmet needs table, which is where these people come together to try to help solve clients' unmet needs. So let's go ahead and skip that one. So we always like to say each agency brings its own uniqueness and expertise, and the secret is to coordinate and leverage that so that you can actually help more people by cooperating together. And it was like the example I gave where somebody provided free labor. Well, that saves us money to hire a contractor, so then we can actually help more people. Okay. So with Hurricane Harvey, This is through our unmet needs table. This includes CBDRG, Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Groups, construction, along with other agencies like Rio Texas Conference, Catholic Charities, Diocese of West, or Episcopal Diocese of West Texas, and numerous, and I'll show you all the people that participate. But we were able to accomplish so far 359 major home repairs. We provided 262 new homes. That's 117 homes that were rebuilt, and 145 manufactured homes were replaced, for a total obligation of $22.3 million. And remember, this is not government funded. This is all through people's generosity, donations, time, and effort. And I always get emotional when we do the home giveaways, because I think about all the volunteers that participate through the goodness of their hearts to help these people. And it's as simple as, you know, one of our partners, the guy was telling me that, remember when Harvey hit, there was a shortage of eggs, and so he couldn't feed the volunteers that were staying there. So he ran around to his church members and found people that had chickens and were collecting the chicken eggs so that he could feed the volunteers so they could go out. And here's this man doing all this stuff, and he's, you know, the unsung hero. And all these people coming together to do their little parts that added up into a huge thing that makes huge difference for all these people's lives. So Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Groups, here's just a list of some of the partners that we've had, that have come together at our unmet needs table to make all this happen. All Hands and Hearts, BCFS, Catholic Charities, Care Group, some industries like Chenier. As you can see, it's a very lengthy group. Go ahead and go to the next one. And then here's some of our other major partners that all contributed to our success in helping the people of the Coastal Bend. So go ahead. So I want to first thank you for your time. What we're trying to do is we're trying to formalize our relationships with each of the counties through a memorandum of understanding, so that because people change, things change, so that they know what to do as part of your emergency disaster plan. Did you want to speak about that, RJ?
RJ Thomas, I'm the manager of emergency preparedness for the Coastal Bend Council of Governments, and as with Margie Gonzalez, Commissioner Gonzalez, sorry, I serve on the board with this, and I'm thinking we're one of the first ones that have been on this, because we were here in 2014 when we organized it all.
Work was done here in 2015, and
Right.
work was done here after the winter storm also.
Exactly, yeah. And so what this basically brings to the table is it brings funding in a way that doesn't duplicate effort. It brings people together at a round table that is the envy of many other long-term recovery units in the state of Texas. They come down, they watch what we do. We make presentations at state agencies, with state agencies and state conferences on what we're doing here. So what this organization is doing is very good. Another thing it is after a disaster, immediately after the disaster, people want to help. They really want to help, and they will send out. They'll be more likely to donate then. We're long-term recovery. We don't start for 6 months, but immediately after the storm, and this happened with Harvey to a great success. The previous judge, Judge Lloyd Neal in Nueces County, who has the media because he's in Corpus Christi with all the TV stations and everything. He got on the TV and immediately said, the Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group, this is them, this is how you donate, this is where it's at. And it was because we were able to collect that money and that notoriety, or I don't know whether you call it notoriety, but that advertisement right up front to show that allowed us to do much of these things. And we're not just saying, we're not going to say something like, if a company or a person in Jim Wells County wanted to donate money to Jim Wells County, we can do that. Much of the funds or the large grants were awarded to Aransas County. We help manage those. We help take those through the process and everything else. So when you go to figure out who's eligible for funding that you're raising, who's eligible for that, is that the job of local government to be doing that? I mean, there's some major pitfalls that you can get into doing that, even if you're trying to do the right thing. I mean, it's just hard with the restrictions put on government and stuff. So I think an organization like this is well suited for that. The MOU basically just will just codify what it is that we do. That if there is a major disaster or something else like that, and people wish to donate money, they can donate it to us, and we will use it within your county, within the declared area. And so that's the essential basis of the MOU. We're putting that together. These MOUs won't be, they can be tailored. So if we bring it to you and your attorney says, well, I'd rather have it this way than that way, we don't have to go through with all the other counties and say, okay, can you change this too? If it's something you guys want, it'll be in between us. It's not a one size fits all. So there'll be room for that as well. So that's what we're looking for down the road. We want to dig it out and get some education out there as to what it is that we do, how it is that we do it. And I stand by for any questions you have. Also on the list of companies, HEB is not on there.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are? Okay, I didn't see their symbol
There
up
was
there.
actually both. There's actually HEB and the HEB.
The Herbert Butts family?
Yes.
Okay,
They're
okay.
both
All right,
on.
I stand corrected. But any questions?
I just want to thank you for all the work you all do in coordinating all this, and thank Margie for giving of her time and representing Jim Wells County in the way she does. And it's exciting because we can reach out even before the next disaster and reach out to some of these groups, organizations, individuals that may want to. We need to highlight this and give it more and highlight it and bring it to the attention as Judge Neal did at the time. And I think we need to do that and begin that program and get ahead of the curve.
Get ahead of the curve, right? Exactly.
At the, like you said, notoriety time when people are willing to help and donate, and as after a while, they just forget about it.
Yes, and I'd like to thank Jim Wells.
Finishing up, we still have a couple of that we're going to do, or we just did the handing of more keys.
Pardon?
Said, you know how we did that whole neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, and in Esperanza, yeah, in Woodsboro, yes. Yeah, that also is a
It was a whole.
it's a
23 homes.
23 homes. It is something that hasn't been seen before, but these 23 homes were built to higher windstorms and everything else like that type of homes. And then the people that moved into those homes transferred their property that they currently own that was damaged by the storm back to the city?
No, it was actually to the Refugio County Community Foundation, Development Foundation.
And transferred their ownership over to the new house. And so now they're in a better house, more storm-ready community, out of the floodplain, all those things that come into play in an instance like that. And to get something like that accomplished is absolutely tremendous. I applaud the folks that actually do the work. I go to the board meetings. That's my job. But yeah.
But one of the things that made me proud was we actually put hurricane covers for the windows, and the last storm that came through, I drove by and people actually took the time to put it up there. So our hope is that we don't just patch a roof, we replace it with a roof that's actually meets TWIA certification, so that we're actually trying to build some sort of resiliency to the community so that we don't keep seeing the same people with the same problems over and over again. And that's our hope, is that we're actually making every person we touch a little bit more resilient to the next disaster.
Great.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for pointing all that out.
Thank y'all for coming.
I'd like to thank Jim Wells County because of the work that the Commissioners Court did, particularly with my experience with Commissioner Gonzalez, and also Juan Acuna, your emergency management coordinator. that usually means that I don't have to come to Jamal County very often because I get updates, I know what's going on, and I know they don't need help. I was here for the line of duty death funeral and helped out with that, but other than that, I don't spend a lot of time in the county, but it's not because I don't love you, it's because you got a handle on it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much for everything.
Thank you,
Appreciate
RJ.
you guys.
Thank you, Marjorie,
Thank you.
for being part of
Yes, sir.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. That's great. All right, thank you, Margie. Okay. Anything else on this? We're good? Yeah, that's a good program.
A lot of the money is donated, but we also have a grant writer that CDBG.
All righty. Again, thank you guys for there. Okay, presentation. We'll move back to agenda item number 5. Discuss, consider, and take action on offer to purchase tax sale property. Suit number 18-0171161B, Jim Wells County, City of Alice, Alice Independent School District, Alice Water Authority versus, is it Marareno? Marareno.
Macario. Macario Nacianceno.
Nacianceno Ortiz.
Marareño.
Marareno. I thought it would be
Macario.
Oh, so it's spelled wrong.
Maybe. Okay, we'll go through account number 1183500300000.
Spelled differently.
Lots 5 and south 35 feet, lot 6, block 1, King Street addition, in addition to the City of Alice, Jim Wells County, Texas. All right, commissioners. Yes.
On this one, it says Macario.
Marcario? Let me see how that goes. Let's see. Macario, okay, there was a misspelling here.
I'll make a motion to approve, Judge, items
Second.
presented.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the amount of $2,200. That was the offer. In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, thank you. Agenda item number 6, discuss, consider, and take action on offer to purchase tax sale property, suit number 0509136678B, Jim Wells County, Texas. Alice Independent School District, City of Alice, Alice Water Authority versus Neil F. Ernest, account number 1110026000000, lot 2, block 35, original town site, City of Alice, Jim Wells County. We have an offer of $2,200 for purchase from Bart and Bertha Burns. 110.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 7, discuss, consider, take action on offer to purchase tax sale property, suit number 161216863B, Jim Wells County, City of Alice, Alice Independent School District, Alice Water Authority versus Margarita A. Joslin, account number 1108541500000, the north one half of lot 5, block 1, Bettis Reynolds subdivision, in addition to the City of Alice, Jim Wells County, Texas. We have an offer of $12,900 for the purchase.
But is it 12,000 or is it 9?
It says 12,000 here.
But it says in the bottom, due to the multiple interest in the above property, a bid of was taken on December 16, 2020. The MGM Home Solutions have winning the bid for 9,100.
The bid was taken off. Increased their offers to 12,900 on August 23rd. Is that correct, JC? That's makes.
Is it 12,000 or is
Is
it
it our
9,000?
portion is the 4,900?
They increased their offer to 12,900.
12,900. That's what the offer is. That's what it states. It was
Yes.
increased. So that's the offer.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the items presented with 12,900.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. In a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Let's see here. Agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and take action on budget amendment requested by County Judge Juan Rodriguez Jr. to transfer a total of $16,000 from line item 28401-573 equipment to the following line items: $15,000 to line item 28401-580 buildings and improvements, and $1,000 to line item 28401-486 conferences and trainings, and $20,000 from line item 12510-573 equipment to the following: $3,000 to line item 12409-499 miscellaneous, $15,000 to line item 12510-499 contingent liabilities, and $2,000 to line item 12-510-454 repairs maintenance vehicle.
Judge, Commissioners, I spoke to Mr. Gomez yesterday. He's not here today, but he did advise that he had reviewed, with respect to all the budget amendments on today's agenda, they had all been reviewed, and there was sufficient money for all the transfers. He just wanted me to make that announcement.
Thank you, Mr.
Make a
Guerra.
motion to accept item number 8 as presented, Judge.
Okay, have a
I'll
motion.
second the
And a
motion.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Guerra, for that. Mr. Gomez is out today. Agenda item number 9, discuss, consider, and take action on budget amendment request by Justice of the Peace Richard De Leon to transfer a total of $3,296.04 from following line items: $2,300 from line item 12-451. 225 and 99604 from line item 12-451-427, conferences and associations to line item 12-451-310, office supplies.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay,
I'll second.
have a motion floor and a second. All those in favor say
Aye.
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 aye. And all
Thank
those
you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. May you all have a safe weekend.
You too.
Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and take action on a request from Commissioner Margie Gonzalez to transfer $150,000 from the General Revenue Fund to the Road and Bridge Precinct 1 Fund. Any questions, Commissioners?
Michael, do you have anything to say about that?
Nope.
No, it's just, what the Commissioners, whatever you all decide. There were two things Mr. Gomez pointed out. If this is approved, we need to specify where the funds will come from out of the current budget, and also to specify whether this is a one-time, essentially grant transfer, or if this is a loan that will be repaid when the next fiscal year begins in 2022.
The needs are required. There's needs that are necessary in that part of the country. Any questions, Commissioners? You all have made it clear there it's coming out of the general fund. Any questions? I move that we approve this.
Yes, I have a question if you're gonna, okay, so where's this money coming from?
That's coming out of the general fund.
Yeah, but from.
We'll figure that out. I know Noe's not here today to clarify the specific.
And another question would be, is it a loan, or is it gonna get repaid, or so?
I have a need. There's no, I can't, I was in the red last year, and there's no way I could
Yeah,
pay
but,
that.
yeah. I can understand that, we can actually fund it, but for, we cannot just, fund it as a grant, I think it has to be consequences. I think we can certainly forward the 150 and maybe in your January 1st, pull it out of your budget. I just don't think that it's a good practice to,
Well, historically, we know that Precinct 1 has always had issues because of the population and the lack
Yeah,
of budget.
yeah.
It's not something that's just this year. It's
Yeah,
been in the
but-
past.
Yeah, but historically, doesn't have nothing to do with it. It's staying within your budget. That's, and I think that you have enough money in your budget to finish out the year. And starting January 1st, you have a new budget and you continue.
I'd like to say, and I understand your concern and pointing that out, Commissioner. I know that in the past, historically, I know that there had been at one time when we first came on, that there was some confusion, and on our part, myself, and I think Commissioner Gonzalez was on, we all came on, and where they were trying to address, where y'all were trying to address the shortcomings and the lack of funding to certain areas that required, and obviously needed more attention to infrastructure and roads. And I understand your concern about that, Commissioner. And I know that had been done, and I know it was reversed, and we we still got to keep that in mind. And I have that in mind. We have not looked at that again and really sat down to look at the needs for each precinct. That's yet to be done, a study, and to look at the actual condition of each roadway and all of the different infrastructure in different areas. Just having said that, that's something that we're now familiar, a little more familiar with than when we first came in, because I didn't quite understand the initial. I know that was addressed right before we came in by the previous administration, and
Yes,
there
we
was
try to
funds that were
change the
transferred.
formula of funding the precincts.
Right, so now I know a little more about it, and I guess we all need to get familiar with that, each roadway that needs to be addressed in each precinct, that's gonna have to be looked at eventually and do a study, because that hasn't been done. We had different firms provide or step up or make themselves available. We just haven't sat down yet to really look at those things. So that's, having said that, I know what your concern is, Commissioner. This is the way I understand it. It's a one-time deal transfer here. I know that Mr. Gomez is not in here right now. So having said that,
I just don't think it's an emergency. She has funds to finish the year. So to say that it's an emergency, it's not. So, that's my view. There's two commissioners over there that might have a different opinion, so
Commissioners, any other opinions or any suggestions or questions? Right now is the time to say it, not later or any other time. Right now is where we're looking at and I know that some people may not look at it. I just had a phone call yesterday, the day before, from the city of San Diego and Jamal County, and they too have an emergency because they had an incident that continues happening over and over again. I committed, I promised that I would go look at that specifically because it's real bad. I looked and surveyed the whole county, and I haven't seen anything in that bad of condition. And I don't know what the status is with the city of San Diego and Jamal County, but I know that Margie's done enough to reach out to the city and to try to work with them together. But there's always been some, whether it's with the city, but I know Margie's done what she can. So it's a pretty bad condition. I hadn't seen anything that bad in some time. So commissioners, any?
I'd like to say one thing, that's it. $150,000 is $150,000. If we're gonna give just $150,000 to somebody, we got maybe 9 weeks left to the year, working weeks. December being what, 2.5 weeks maybe, and then November 3.5 weeks. At $16,000 a week that we'd be spending, I believe. I don't think that giving this money is gonna be, the timing is right. I believe if we could wait till next year, figure something else out, but I'm not gonna support $150,000
Okay,
at
let me
this
just say,
moment.
I'm just gonna say that right now I have a balance, but most of that balance is the money that I borrowed for equipment. That's why I have a balance.
And I know this has been discussed, or this has been considered before.
What did you buy?
Remember, I borrowed money and we haven't bought, I borrowed money to buy a used oil distributor and a chip seal spreader,
Yeah.
but I haven't purchased it.
Yeah, Commissioner, all respect, we have an oil distributor, and we have that equipment that's available and to you, we rotate it, we can do whatever we want to. I just don't think that, purchasing another one solves the problem. I think, because, you can certainly buy one. You're not gonna have the funding to buy the material to use it year round. So if you were to use what we have already, you would probably have monies to buy material. That's my observation, that you can certainly buy one, but you certainly can't use it all year because you wouldn't have the resources to use it. We already have one.
We definitely need to look at and relook at. I know we've addressed it, we've talked about it. It was never come before the Commissioners Court. It's probably gonna come up soon to relook at and assess everybody's needs and look at the different type of approach when it comes to, I know we had discussed rotating different precincts. We had discussed maybe looking getting more bang for our buck when we go each precinct by precinct and rotating it on an annual basis to look at that. I know we haven't addressed that. I know if we do something, the only thing we were discussing right now, we're trying to figure out immediately what needed to be addressed, but considering that and taking that into consideration, we're gonna have another budget coming up, and we're gonna have to reassess and relook at our numbers. And before, I know I've discussed it with several commissioners about even discussing other ways to be more efficient and study different concerns and costs and overhead and so these are things that'll be coming up. So I appreciate the comments right now, and I don't know where we're at and all that, but
I agree with you, Judge. Once we do an assessment and we find out where we're at, we can move monies around. But for us to just put $150,000 out from the taxpayer dollars out to.
it's taxpayers' dollars that
And
not
to
only,
just give it
okay,
away,
not,
It's not
and
being
I understand
used.
your concern,
You know,
and
I can understand, once we do the assessment, we're talking different show here.
Yeah.
But we're going toward the end of the year. We're gonna be limited on how many weeks we're gonna have working weather-wise and holidays and all that stuff, so.
all right.
$150,000 is quite a bit of money.
It is quite a bit of money, and it is taxpayers' dollars, and we are being transparent, and we are gonna earmark it specifically. That would be another contingency as far as specifically what it was gonna be used for. That's another proper and more,
Which is for road work.
yeah, and it may come up to where we have another instance somewhere else, and this is something.
But I asked that question the last time when when we talked about it, and they said it was gonna be used for general fund.
From the general fund coming
No,
out.
that it was gonna be used for general fund.
okay,
No,
no.
we said road.
I don't know.
It's recorded on the.
Okay, it may have been, if it's recorded, it may have been, so we're
So-
correcting
Did
and
you
making a
make that
clarification.
suggestion that it was gonna be for road work? It's not.
It's, you know, what I can see here is that you're buying equipment that we really.
Well, I haven't even looked for it anymore.
yeah,
The
but-
money's
but-
supposed to be there.
But you're appropriating monies for equipment that we already have equipment. You know, all we have to do is share it. 'Cause, you know, if we use our equipment 3 months at a time, that's all the monies that we have to seal coat anyway. See, so, you know, everybody can share what we have.
I just want to remind everybody that we're, as commissioners, our main objective is road and bridge, is to fix the roads. It's not anything else. I mean, yes, we make decisions here for the county, but our main objective is to fix the roads. And that's what we need to concentrate. Our money should be going for the, when I came in, we had trash services that we were spending $200,000. We had buildings and other people working at Fremont that were to a total of $80,000. We cut all that off. And we need to reassess ourselves and figure out where we at and spend our money wisely for the roads.
Yeah, and we appreciate.
And that's our main deal here. And we all got to work together to make a whole county better, not just our precinct. I'm not just worried about precinct. I understand you have a lot of issues, and I'm willing to help, but it's just to give out $150,000. I can't support, not today. I can get an assessment next year and figure something out. You know, we can work it and.
We just don't want to make it a practice that we use as general fund. Simply because road and bridge, our budget gets created by different fees. Every tax, a little bit of property tax, a lot of fees. And if those fees don't come in, our budget goes down. If they come in, our budget goes up. So we're not reliant on the general fund. We have to rely on the fees that come in and make it work.
And that's understandable, Commissioner, and I understand that concern.
Also, we don't have a surplus, excess money, you know, our general fund, or, you know, we don't have any extra monies, you know, our budget is exactly like it was last year, the year before, and the year before that. You know, our economy hasn't grown, we still have the same amount. If we start pulling money out of there, you know, a few years down the road, we're gonna be, you know, in bad shape. Every time we try to get monies out of the general fund, you know, it really sends a red flag. You know, I don't like it. Basically, I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's understood. I hate to dip it into my savings account. You know, they make me do that for sure. because we want to touch it until I get old. Who knows what there's gonna be left? But again, there's immediate concerns, there's residents, there's people's lives actually right now. And they really don't care about our budget or general fund or anything else. And that's true, but we have to be responsible. We have to be fiscally responsible. And we are, for the most part. I think Mr. Gomez is not here really right now to go further and discuss what our reserves and our, I think we discussed it before, how we've done, and I know what the concerns are, and I know we don't want to create a new practice, and this is case by case. These are instances that we may have to come up with, like, for instance, had to come up with some funds for the area of Orange Grove and Sandia with another fire truck. I know that's $175,000. That's not a want, but a need, because they have to be ready for the future, anything else. If they don't have that equipment, they're gonna need it. And that was something that came up that was unexpected. Things come up. That's all I have to say, commissioners.
And actually, when we made all the cuts that we made in 2016, and we began having a positive variance at the end of the year, that was the plan, that we would take some of that money and put it into the road and bridge.
And that was something to supplement the road and bridge for the lack or shortage of, so I think I've said all I've said, and I think I've seen it firsthand, the need and the immediate, the safety and of those residents that drive those streets in that particular area. And what I've assessed, and so I see it somewhat of an emergency or a need, and we've had several rains and floods here recently where it's actually exacerbated the problem and made it even worse. I mean, every rain, every drop, every single storm that we get, it just makes it that much more. So it is kind of an immediate thing, and really the timing, who knows what our winter's gonna be like and our precipitation and what's gonna happen there. So commissioners, that's it. Any other questions before yes.
For us, we don't, Precinct 3, we're not gonna be using the distributor truck. We're not gonna be using chip spreader. We're gonna bid ours out. So have you already purchased that
No,
equipment?
I haven't.
Oh,
I
good.
haven't purchased it, no.
Okay, because then it's probably just maybe y'all too.
No, I can understand buying equipment, buying road material. I don't think the timing is right now.
Well, I haven't gone forward in buying the other pieces of equipment.
We went through the last time you were trying to buy a truck and with all due respect, and it didn't go through. So I think if we just wait out the 9 weeks, we can work something out next year, figure something else out, but not at the moment. Not from general fund.
Okay, well, then I guess we'll have to consider everything from now. I mean, we always do take very good costs. I mean, Commissioner, do you have anything else to say before we proceed on this? Does anybody have any other suggestions or any questions? Because
So you made a motion. Can I second the motion or no?
on which one?
You made the motion.
Yeah, I made the motion. I made a motion. Of course, somebody can second the motion, and then we'll take
So
it
I
from
can
there.
second the motion.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor that was made. and a second.
Or no?
Well, we just need to specify those two things, where it's gonna come out of. Short of dipping into the fund balance, Mr. Gomez said that there's the reserve for contingencies, which is kind of our emergency fund. Other than that, you'd have to dip into the fund balance. And also, please clarify on the record whether this is basically a grant or a loan.
It's a grant.
Okay, so on the motion, okay, on the motion to discuss, consider that I move that on the request from Commissioner Margie Gonzalez to transfer $150,000 from the General Revenue Fund to the Road and Bridge Precinct 1 Fund as a grant. That is my motion. And that's where it's at. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
I have a second on the floor. After discussion, any more discussion, commissioners? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all those in favor, oppose, say nay.
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 The motion dies for a lack of a. Okay, so that agenda item is we'll move on to that and we'll just discuss it. Like I said, we'll look at other things. If this was not available to us now, we'll relook at everything and assess it, and then we'll get that on there immediately. So that at least we have something to tell the folks from precinct number 6 and those roads for the city of San Diego and see what we can work out. Okay.
And just to clarify on that, remember, incorporated areas within the precinct, those are generally not the commissioner's responsibility.
Yeah,
Wicho and I discussed it. We had this issue with Fremont too, because they wanted some help with some of the roads, and the general rule is, and I can email you all the site from it's
great.
From TAC, but incorporated areas are responsible for their own roads.
We need to get something that'll be great to have something in hand so we can bring that to the city of San Diego and the city of Fremont so we
Yes,
can
because every
clarify
day
it.
they call because the city of San Diego tells them it's our responsibility.
Yeah, because you have interlocal agreements.
Well, okay, now that's the only exception. That's correct. That's the exception if you have an interlocal agreement, but generally even those are restrictive. But the general rule is incorporated cities are responsible for their own roads, and the commissioners are responsible for the unincorporated areas within their precinct.
And all that's left is to educate our residents there in the city of San Diego that come into precinct 6, and that would be very helpful if you could forward that email to us so we can have something in hand when we do go in person there to break it down for these residents there, which I'm going to do here next week. Thank you, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra.
And then we'll also have something in hand so we can explain to the folks in Fremont that have continuously put it on Commissioner Gonzalez to.
I think we've already forwarded that to Mayor Vargas. Is that correct, Commissioner?
I haven't.
I just want to follow up.
Physically talk to her, but
I think I sent it to you and Mandy. Let me look up that email and I'll forward it to everyone else.
Thank you. Thank you very much, because that'll help in hand to while we do our visits with each region of the county. So we'll have that documentation to be able to answer any questions. That should work. Any other questions, guys? No? All right, then we're gonna move on to agenda item number 12. Presentation and discussion by Nadia Stevens from CM Auctions regarding availability of services. Do we have Miss? She's not in today. I guess they didn't pop in.
Are they on?
Okay, number 14, which was next?
Number 12. Okay, we'll move on to that. We'll move on because there's nobody here, I
Oh, yeah,
guess.
okay, the auction.
She was here not that long ago, last week or something. I think they spoke to the sheriff's office, but that's okay. We'll move on and then we'll get back to that some other time. Agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, and take action on approving the renewal rates for 2021 Jamal County Group Health Plan.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
I have some flyers for you all, so pass these out. Judge, yours has one additional document for signatures.
Okay, thank you, yes.
All right, so thank you all for having me today. My name is Clarissa Martinez. I am the employee benefits consultant for the South Territory at TAC. So I'm basically just here today to discuss the plan year 2022 renewal for your health benefits through the TAC Health and Employee Benefits Pool. So first, you do have a flyer that says why counties choose TAC. It looks like this. So on there, I just want to remind you all, we are county owned and county governed. We are a not-for-profit organization, so we're able to use that operational surplus to redistribute back to the counties if there is that surplus. And good news, the board did approve that for this year. So the surplus distribution for Jim Wells County over the next 2 years will be $16,253. So that's surplus coming back to you that the pool and the board has approved to give back to you all over 2 years.
Better than nothing, right?
Yes, of course. So being a part of the pool, you're able to share that year-to-year risk among the pool members. So that, of course, allows you to provide greater financial stability. We are county-focused customer service, so we only deal with counties and county entities, so we're unique in that way. We do have over 47,000 members a part of the pool, so we are able to obtain those volume purchasing discounts that the county itself maybe couldn't do individually out there. So you're sharing, you're using the volume to allow us to negotiate those contracts with our vendors. So that's just a little bit on the Y County choose TAC. So I'll move into the actual renewal. So as you all know, plan year 2020 and plan year 2021 was a little bit hard. Of course, we had a pandemic. So COVID-19 equated to a lot of the increase that you'll hear about today in just a minute. Specifically in plan year 2021, we have seen an increase of 18% in claims for the health pool overall. So some of the contributing factors to that was COVID-19 claims. Of course, we're seeing those trickle in. Some are higher, of course, now. And then lastly, we also are seeing more neoplasms. So that's cancers that we're seeing among the pool members. So 18% increase in claims, which is significantly higher than our previous plan year of 2020. So that brings us to the pool needed amount. So on the letter here addressed to you, Judge, this is going to talk about the pool needed amount, the trend, how we set those allocations by county, and more. So the pool needed amount for plan year 2022 is going to be 7.3%, which is actually at and below the national trend level. So that's good news. We're kind of right there with the national level. Of course, this doesn't mean that all counties are going to get a 7.3% increase. The board has the option to either accept the pool needed amount for all counties, or they can choose the option to give individual allocations to each county. So the board has approved to give individual allocations to each county. So we factor in a few different things that all go into those allocations. So first, I'll start with the loss ratio. So actually in your packet, let me see here. Lost it. So on the letter page, oops, that one. Sorry, y'all.
Sorry, we don't have more space up there.
It's okay.
You can use that other area right there, right next to
Oh,
the
yeah.
light.
Okay. So on the this packet right here, it looks like this with the alternate plan proposal. And the second page, you're going to find the 12-month loss ratio. So when we go into setting those allocations and looking at your data, we do look at the months of May of 2020 through April of 2021. So on this this loss ratio report, you will see the contributions versus your claims there. And so, of course, your contributions were at a little bit over $2.1 million. And then the total medical and pharmacy claims that were paid out was a total of a little over $2.2 million. So that brings your loss ratio to 105%. So you want a 94% to kind of break even with the pool. And so y'all are just slightly above that at 105%. We don't just look at the last 12 months claims data. We do look at the past 36 months. It's more credible. If you have a high cost claimant maybe in the past 12 months, we don't want your renewal increase to be skyrocketed because of just that one claim. So we do look at a 36 months basis. It's more credible. And y'all's 36-month loss ratio is sitting at 95.41%. So just a little bit above the 94% to break even with the pool. Second, we also look at high-cost claimants when we set those individual allocations. So there were three over $100,000, your highest being $474,000. That was the highest claim for the last 12 months that we look at for the allocations. And then there were 3 over 50,000 and then 32 over 10,000. So that kind of just gives you a breakdown of all of the higher claims that have been paid out for your plan year 2021. We also look at the area factor and demographic factor. So area factor is going to look at the cost of care here in Jim Wells County versus elsewhere in Texas. So y'all have a negative 10.1% as your area factor, which basically means it's a lot cheaper to get care here in Jim Wells County versus some of the other areas in Texas, such as your cities and things like that. So that's another factor that we take into consideration. And then your demographic factor. So the average age of your population, so your average age of employees here in Jim Wells County versus the average age of the pool. So y'all are at 6.9%, not saying y'all are older, but it is just slightly over.
That referred to the 6.9%, exactly.
So that is the demographic factor. So that is going to be your average age of your employees versus the average age of the pool. Does that make sense?
Sort of, yeah. What's the actual age? Average?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have to look. Yeah, I know it's a little bit above what you see out there in like Blue Cross's book of business. We're a little bit older than average groups. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I can get you an answer. Okay, so bringing y'all to the plan year 2022 renewal increase. So the medical increase is going to be 8% for plan year 2022. And then any questions on the medical so far before I move into the dental?
I guess, any questions, commissioners? No. Specifically, no?
Okay, moving on to the dental. So there were more claims that were paid out in that same packet with the alternate rate proposals. You will have a 12-month medical or a 12-month dental report that will show you the total contribution versus the dental paid. So you have contributions at over 75,000, and then your dental paid claims were at 96,000. So you do see we paid more in claims versus y'all's contribution. And so that brought the loss ratio to 128%. So that brings the increase for plan year 2022 to 6.8% for an increase in the dental rates. There was no change to the life or the vision rates, so those are going to stay the same. Everything is good to go with those. There's no increase or decrease on those. And I think that's really all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Commissioners, any questions?
And we do have, I don't know if it's worth a discussion or anything, but this alternate plan proposal is going to show you all of the tiers and the rates that with that increase. And then there is some alternate plans on there just so that you can view if that's a discussion.
Options?
Yeah.
So what was the deductible?
Y'all's deductible right now is $1,000 for the individual and then $3,000 for family. So the family being if you have any dependents on your plan. And you will see that on the alternate plan proposal too. It gives you the highlights, the benefit highlights of the plan.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else? No?
We're basically keeping the same deductible.
Yes, everything's staying the same on the plan. If y'all renew as is, it would just be an 8% increase to the medical and then the 6.8% increase to the dental.
I know it's been a while. I
About
just have to say.
$29.
Sorry?
About $29.
A little bit more than that on, it's about 55. So y'all, I believe, y'all fund the employee only level. And so you will see it went from $694.40 to $749.96 if you're keeping the same plan.
Same plan, yeah. That's a little bit more than, now, yeah, and just to comment, because, I mean, we haven't compared or done anything like that in some time, right?
And usually what I can do is I can meet with Cindy to do a mid-year review. So basically what that is I just go over kind of what I talked about today, the loss ratio, high cost claimants. And then I bring in Biral Patel, who's the wellness consultant for the South Territory as well. So we team up on this to kind of just view, what do we need to focus on health-wise? We have programs in place that can come in and target maybe your top condition that we see claims are. And so we can do that. And then that's the time that we can kind of explore different options, know for renewal next year for plan year 2023, that we can kind of get y'all some different options.
That's all I was getting at, just took a
Yeah.
look at something else and options.
Yeah, I'll make note of that.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to the day that we have a decrease.
Yes, hopefully soon. Last year's renewal pool needed amount was 0%. So when we went from that to 7.3, it was a little hard, but it was unprecedented times and, COVID-19, so can't do anything about it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Make a motion.
No. Do we need to, we haven't approved, are we still looking at it? We're gonna approve these rates as they are. That's why,
Approving.
are we gonna stay the way it is? Okay,
I make a motion to approve the renewal rates for 2021.
I'll second it.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those,
I think our budget already reflects it, Judge.
yes, sir. It's on there. Yeah, okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 And all those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention, you have the packet that has all of the signatures.
Do you want that?
And Cindy, no, I don't need it right now,
Okay.
but Cindy can get it to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all
very
very
much.
Thank you very much. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you. Agenda item number 15, discuss, consider, take action to renew a consulting contract with the Reina Network LLC for assistance with the Jamal County application for grant funds from the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration under the American Rescue Plan Act. Do we have anybody on today? That's
Is there
gonna,
anybody representing it?
nobody? I guess not.
I had a question that, do we?
Good
really-
morning.
Consultants, since
Oh,
we
yeah,
already
there
have
he
a
is. Okay, go ahead.
Who do we have?
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Thank you for having me today. My name is Thelma Gonzalez, representing the Reina Network, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I don't know, did y'all get a copy of the new contract? Actually, it's a renewal of a contract.
Uh-huh. I don't know if we have a copy of the contract.
The old contract actually expired, let me get that date for you. September 25th.
There were
So
changes
we
in the
need to
contract.
hopefully renew.
What kind of changes were there in the contract?
Well, first of all, the dates, like I said, the other one expired September 25th. The amount of the grant request went up from 5 million to 5.5, and the program name. Now we're using the American Rescue Plan Act versus the CARES Act Recovery Assistance.
That's what we had entered into. An agreement.
Those were the changes.
Okay. And currently, we do have already someone handling.
So how would this affect our portion of the American Rescue Plan?
I think that's item 16. This is just for the renewal of the contract, giving us authorization to
What the,
prepare and
you're entering the American Rescue Plan now, so what's the cost to the county?
it'll be 2% of whatever y'all get funded. That stayed the same. The old contract reflected the same. It's 2% of the EDA grant award.
It's in the bottom, Georgia.
They're only the consultants.
Under compensation,
They're only
if you
gonna
have the new one.
They'll only get paid 2% of the deal, and it's gotta be upon notice of EDA grant award. They could waive the first, remember? Only if we got the grant, they would get paid.
Is that what the terms were?
Yeah,
Yes, that didn't change.
they didn't change. So right there in the bottom.
Yeah, it says to be awarded upon notice of the award, the 2%.
What's the amount of your grant? Still 4 million? or
5.5.
5.5.
Well, the grant request was for $3.960,000. So it would be 2% of that.
$1 million that they were requesting for the.
I thought it was a 5.5 million.
It is including the match.
Yep.
But our compensation comes from the,
So your 2% comes out of the
the amount requested, yes.
3? Am I correct?
I'm sorry?
Is it the 3 or the 5 million?
Your 2%.
Combined with the,
The 2% comes from the EDA grant request, which in this case is 3,960,000.
that's
So,
it, top,
so,
that's where it's.
so who's gonna be paying the 5%,
No, it's 2%.
the 2%?
We will.
You know, I thought the agreement, you know, where the county wouldn't be out any monies.
Initially, the, what are they called? The primate farm?
Yeah,
What's the name of the company?
it was cool. I'm sorry, I was thinking of.
Estamos
Covance.
llegando.
I was thinking of Covance. I know there's a new owner
Michael,
currently.
Yes,
excuse me, but what's the name of the primate farm?
they changed their name. They were Covance and,
Now they're
Now there's a new
something with a V?
owner.
Evo or
Envigo,
Vigo, I know it was.
and ENVIGO.
I know that they just got, I know there was another change, but I'm not sure yet to keep up so much.
So this consultant company, Michael, we still have to go out for, we still have to do an RFP and an RFQ, right?
Well, we already did that. This is just extending the existing contract.
To keep working on the.
Yeah, I mean, that would be counterproductive because they're already into it, 12 months into it, you know, and.
Particular.
Okay,
grant.
but it just seems like we're having to do it.
It's just renewing.
And that 2%, everything, nothing's gonna come out of the county, right? It's gonna come out of the money if it is granted?
That was the commitment that we got from some of the, there's a lot of there are a lot of stakeholders here, and we did get a commitment that they
I think most of it was, we were not, both Sanjay and I were texting each other. We don't know where it is.
Somebody else.
So we have some interference.
Yeah. Yeah, the commitment from there's a bunch of stakeholders here, and the commitment was the county would be reimbursed the 2% plus our match, which then you'll see on the next item, they're asking that our match go up 8%.
Thank you, Linda.
Oh, I think Linda's handing out, that's on the prior item. That's the handout on the responsibility of the city over their streets.
We can reference this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Okay.
So basically, like I said, I do agree that, you know, on this particular project that we're working on to extend the renewal, since we haven't had any response yet from the EDA, but the key question was if anything is coming out of pocket from us. Will that?
Well, if any, yeah, and I don't know if Ms. Gonzalez is still there, but that was the commitment, and we you know, if they don't come through, then we don't sign off on it.
Then that was contingent upon that, if to come through and to get that awarded. You there, Ms. Gonzalez? Or no?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, all right. So can you give us another layout? Okay, before we get to the next agenda item. Basically, just for clarify, this is to continue and to renew what was existing before with no changes. To continue on this project that they're working on, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yes.
No changes with no anything on that. So commissioners, any questions?
It's really not a renewal, it's an extension. I think the original term was 6 to 12 months, and we're closing in on the 12-month mark.
And still waiting on the ED on some response, yeah.
I'd just like to know the effect of the American Rescue Plan from the money that the county gives. Because EDC also has, monies.
Sure, they have.
So I'd
available
like to
funds.
know, where we stand as far as, I don't want to deplete our.
Right, obligations from the American.
From that American
No,
Rescue.
no, it won't come from the American, this is
There's
not,
another
Well,
American
that's-
pot,
The original CARES
That's
Act.
what it says right here.
but it's American Rescue, but it's EDA.
it was CARES, it's EDA, and now the American Rescue Plan. I know it's listed
Is
here.
that correct, Yolanda? It's a different pot of money. It's not the money that was given to.
Could you address that, Ms. Yolanda?
Yes, it does seem a little confusing because it does list the American Rescue Act. So if you recall, I did a presentation regarding the American Rescue Act funds, and then I mentioned, and I had a slide that showed that as part of the American Rescue Act, there was other agencies that were also going to get monies from the American Rescue Act. For example, the EDA agency got monies from that pot. And that monies will then, they created 6 categories of funding that they were going to go out under a notice of funding opportunity. And if I'm correct, Ms. Gonzalez can probably clarify that. That is the monies that they're submitting under for the EDA application that they are working on. So it doesn't touch the award that the Jim Wells County got.
Okay, that's my question.
Yes.
As long as it doesn't affect our portion.
No, sir.
Thank you for that clarification, because I know that the American Rescue Act also makes available for us to tap into other
Exactly, Judge.
categories or areas that we can tap into, not including what we already received, what we've been allocated, right?
That is correct. And one of the funding opportunities is applying under the Economic Development Administration, EDA. Remember, I listed that they had 6 categories that you could apply for. I'm not sure which one they're applying under. It may be under the Economic Development, but there were 6 categories that I showed on the PowerPoint that you could submit an application for. But EDA was one of the agencies that got monies from that large
Rescue Act, yes.
pot of monies. The Health and Human Services was another one, the transportation. So there were several agencies that are getting monies, but it doesn't touch our award that was awarded to Jim Wells County.
Thank you for that clarification.
So the 2%, Michael, are we gonna be out 2%?
Only we will get awarded.
If we get awarded, are we gonna be out, or was a part of the contract was that it was gonna come out from another source?
That's gonna come out of the new source that we submitted. There's Miss,
Yeah, but maybe Petra can clarify on that. As I recall, I don't know if it was just the match and the 2% or just.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, the match and the 2% are included, and this will be paid by Invigo.
Yes, that's why we.
Okay, thank you. That's.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, then I think we're not gonna be out any money, so I don't see any reason not to.
So does Envigo know?
5.5 now.
Does Envigo know that they're asking for now 28% and not
Yeah, but
20%?
Yes, and they're willing, they're gonna cover it also.
That's on the next one.
Mhm, yeah. We'll address that since they were willing to. We're all waiting just to get that done already,
So we can make a motion to approve this?
Yeah. Okay,
You're making a motion? Yes. I'll second the motion.
I have a motion on the floor and a second to accept and take action on this agenda item as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 16, discuss, consider, take action to adopt a revised resolution regarding the Jim Wells County application for grant funds for the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration under the American Rescue Plan Act 2021 revision will modify county's commitment from 20 to 28%.
Which is not the counties, but Envigo.
Right. They are gonna pick up the entity's gonna bring up the extra costs, the matching.
And they are aware.
They are aware.
My question is, y'all are gonna pick up the 28%?
Envigo is. Envigo.
She's not there.
Yes, Go in.
Y'all are gonna pick up the 28%.
Yes, Envigo will pick up the 28%.
Envigo specifically, yeah.
I make one.
Yeah, but you gotta make it part of the discussion.
Perfect to clarify, yeah, that's it. Okay, do we have any questions, any other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Do we have a resolution authorizing Jamal County officials to apply and execute documents related to said application? Assistance under the rules and regulations of the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, EDA under the American Rescue Plan Act, whereas Jamal County, Texas deem it necessary and proper to apply for EDA in the amount of 5.5 million under the rules and regulations of the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration under the American Rescue Act 2021. Now therefore be it resolved by the above named applicant, I, Jamal County, Juan Rodriguez Jr., as signatory agent of the application for this funding to the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration under the American Rescue Act 2021 on behalf of Jamal County, Texas. Jamal County Judge Juan Rodriguez Jr. is hereby authorized to act on behalf of Jamal County, Texas in all matters related to the application. Jamal County, Texas commits to a 28% match. Passed, approved, and adopted on the 8th day of October 2021. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Agenda item number 17, discuss, consider, and take action to adopt a resolution recognizing the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Is anybody there from the district attorney's office?
No, sir.
Okay, this is the annual resolution. We're gonna have an event next week, jointly, the county attorney's office and the district attorney's office. And Mr. Garcia's staff has put the resolution together. I believe it's attached to the agenda.
Sure.
And
Yes, sir.
we'd ask the court to approve it.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Resolution recognizing October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. Whereas domestic violence affects every person in Jamal County, Texas, either as a victim or survivor of domestic violence or as a family member, significant other, friend, neighbor, or coworker. Whereas this year's theme, Everyone Knows Someone. This year, state coalitions across the nation are partnering to start a national conversation about domestic violence and how we all can contribute to changing the narrative on an often not talked about subject, more prevalent than most realize. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetimes. This year theme, Everyone Knows Someone, strives to highlight how common domestic violence is and that it is more than physical violence. And whereas according to the CDC, roughly 1 in 6 homicide victims are killed by an intimate partner, Texas accounts for 10% of the nation's domestic violence homicides. And whereas intimate partner violence affects people of all ages as well as racial, ethnic, gender, economic, and religious backgrounds. More than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends in the United States every day. Whereas 2019 National Census Survey of Domestic Violence Programs conducted by the National Network to End Domestic Violence reported that 77,226 violence victims were served by domestic violence shelters and programs around the nation in a single day. And an additional 11,336 people requested help that day. But due to lack of resources, they were unable to be served. Whereas with assistance of our crime victims advocates, we are working to provide quality services to domestic violence survivors responding to emergency calls and criminal justice proceedings. And whereas Jamal County recognized a need to increase funding for programs aimed at intervening in and preventing domestic violence from encouraging and supporting efforts to bring additional resources to our community. And whereas during the month of October, the district attorney of the 79th Judicial District and the Jamal County Attorney's Office will be intensifying efforts to promote public understanding of family violence and increase sensitivity of victims of family violence, emphasizing the need for citizen involvement in efforts to reduce family violence. Now therefore be it resolved that the Jamal County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month and call upon our citizens and government agencies to recommit rededicate ourselves to the goal of eliminating domestic violence.
Okay, very good.
Adopted this 8th day of October. Thank you very much, and we look forward to Mr. Guerra, y'all are having that next week.
Yes, Judge Commissioners, October 14th, which is next Thursday at 6 p.m. on the south side of the courthouse on the lawn, we'll be having our annual vigil for domestic violence victims and survivors, and we invite everyone to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the original. Okay, agenda item number 18, discuss, consider, and take action to adopt a Jim Wells County resolution nominating individuals to be placed on the official voting ballot of Jim Wells County Appraisal District Board of Directors to serve for the 2022-2023 year term.
This is just to nominate
Okay,
the individuals. Last year was Wallace Bergeson, Newell Atkinson, and Manuel Vesio. I'll make a motion that we nominate the same ones.
I second it.
okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you.
Just make sure we get that we're up against the deadline on that one. If we get that resolution signed today and forwarded to Sydney.
Yes, sir.
I believe the deadline's the 15th, but sooner the better.
You gotta get that resolution done.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Deadline of the 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. JC's got it here, so we'll. Okay, so we passed that agenda. We're going on to 19, correct?
Yes, sir.
19, discuss, consider, and take action to allow the Jim Wells County Sheriff's Office to work security in the form of overtime at the fairgrounds during the Jim Wells County Fair that would be reimbursed to the county through the Fair Association.
Yes, sir, Judge and Commissioners, this is a practice that we have every year. We've met with Mr. Mercado and Mr. Jim Timrak regarding the operational schedule for this event. And as always, we submit an invoice and we get reimbursed for that overtime.
I make a motion to accept item 19 as presented.
A motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Okay, agenda item number 20, discuss, consider, take action to approve advanced funding agreements with TxDOT for project to replace bridges on County Road 440 at Tranquitas Creek and San Andreas Creek.
Just to verify, Judge, these are, TxDOT does the inspections for the county roads on the county every odd year, every 2 years on the odd years. And they inspect our bridges and whatever qualifies for rebuilding, they submit to the county. And these two here have qualified and they've asked whether we want to pay for it in funding by, one of them is 39,200 and the other one's 40,000. Or we could do it in in-kind, so I like to accept this and do it in in-kind. And faster we get this done, the faster they qualify for them to be able to rebuild them. And they're in dire need of getting done. They're in pretty bad shape. I got pictures of them, so.
Okay.
So we're gonna forward the funding, Commissioner?
In-kind. In-kind.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to
A
approve.
motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All
so
opposed?
we just gotta make the resolution on Mike to send it off to them?
I believe they did send some forms. I reviewed something. Was it just a letter or did we have a form as well?
This cost, the overall cost, is that what we're
Yeah,
talking about?
it's got it on here,
I thought we're doing everything in kind.
yeah, it's an in-kind, yeah.
But we just break down there's the cost overall.
We have to do a resolution, don't we? To accept it. 'Cause you have to-
I didn't think that it- we have-
Y'all voted. Let me see. I don't have the attachment. You would send it to me, correct? Was there a resolution attached to it?
No, that's not a resolution.
Or do y'all just have to vote on it?
I
We
think we
had to
just,
vote on it, but he says for us to send in the information as soon as possible so he could try to move it up if it all possible.
okay,
Because they would start here like in 2023. So
fine.
the sooner he gets the resolution, the faster he can try to get him moved up.
Okay, well, let's just, you all already voted, correct? It was approved?
We already voted.
Okay, let's get the point person at TxDOT to send us a form of the resolution and we can submit it to Linda for the judge to sign.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm surprised they didn't send it already, the resolution. You can ask them about it.
They may just need a copy of the minutes.
Okay,
So should we include that on the agenda saying that we give the judge permission to sign any resolution?
If you want to do that, who made the motion and the second? As long as the person who made the motion accepts that.
I made the motion, Ventura made the second.
Okay, so, and to the extent a resolution is needed, you are authorizing the county judge to sign off on that.
Yes.
Would that be correct? Okay.
is that correct? Okay.
Just make sure, is Nora there taking minutes? Make sure that she includes that in the minutes.
We got it. I'm here.
Oh. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 21, discuss, consider, take action to authorize a request for proposals for the repair and or replacement of the roof of the Jamal County Courthouse. Okay, we're gonna go out for request for proposals for the roof.
It's something that needs to be done, Judge. I'll make a motion that,
Judge, on that item, do we,
Have to stay with the historical or no?
well, no. My concern is that we've done bidding before and we always go with the lowest bid. And I like to say we could possibly go with the most qualified bid.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cheaper
We
is not
always
always
consider
better.
that. We're not always gonna
So-
go with the
so I don't
cheaper
wanna
under bid.
get
We
obligated
keep
to
that
pay
option
somebody.
open
Yeah.
at our discretion to what the
So I
best
make that
qualified.
comment.
Okay, great, that's good.
Oh.
We want to make sure that everybody's included. I don't know if it's included here for the request for proposals,
Would
obviously.
that be all right, Michael? Mr. Guerra?
Yes. Yeah, we take that up. There's discretion in the Procurement Act. There's discretion for you to take the most qualified bidder.
Right,
Or,
and
I
also,
think that's the word, or the most, or the,
Yes, sir.
you do have some discretion there.
Mr.
Okay.
Guerra, also, I know it's not stated here in this proposal and this, the agenda item regarding liability and all the bonding and all that. Would you want
Insurances and all that.
important to be part of that? I'm not sure if we have to
We'll
specify. They should.
put in all the standard language, just as we did for the buildings that Mr. Guerrero is having built at the TxDOT yard. So
Okay.
we have a good format that we can follow now.
Right.
Of course, all the bidders would have to have all their insurances and bonds and so forth.
motion to approve.
I have a motion on the floor and a,
One second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 22, presentation discussion by county.
that one already.
Already
did
done
that
that, all right. 23, discuss, consider, and act adopting a resolution of the Jamal County Commissioners, Jamal County, Texas, authorizing the filing of a grant application with the Coastal Bend Council of Governments for a regional solid waste grants program. Grant authorizing the Jamal County judge to act on behalf of Jamal County in all matters related to the application and pledging that if a grant is received, Jamal County will comply with the grant requirements of CBCOG, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and the Texas, State of Texas.
Yolanda's here.
Okay, Ms. Moran? How you doing this one again?
Good afternoon, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Good
think we're
afternoon,
already-
Commissioners, Judge. Thank you. Yes, this is a Coastal Bend Council of Governments Regional Solid Waste Grant Program that provides funding for projects that serve a direct and measurable effect on reducing the amount of waste that goes into our landfills. They are offering, they're accepting grant proposals, and Jim Wells County is considering submitting a proposal to fund a tire recovery cleanup campaign. The proposal includes a fund to request monies for the collection, removal, transportation, recycling, and disposal of waste tires from the tire pile areas where illegal dumping has occurred within the Jim Wells County boundaries. The Scrap Tire Recovery Project event will be held in Jim Wells County, and it will be held in conjunction with in April with the Keep Texas Beautiful and also Don't Mess with Texas campaigns. It will have tire recovery sites located in Alice, Fremont, and Orange Grove. During this event, we anticipate that we are going to allow residents for a free drop-off of tires. We can certainly limit the amount of tires, and it will be for automobiles and pickups, no commercial drop-offs. And this will be free to the residents of Jim Wells County. Of course, they will have to show some kind of ID. Let's see, as part of this project, residents are also going to be given information regarding the TCEQ laws and regulations that govern the collection and disposal of scrap tires. So this proposal will have an educational component to it as well. And not only will we have educational materials, we will also have materials that we will provide to the tire businesses here to make sure that they're aware of what TCEQ guidelines are and that they are, in compliance. And we will work closely with the code enforcement here in City of Alice, and of course our litter abatement officer that we have with the sheriff's office. I did meet with the sheriff's department yesterday and with the sheriff, and we did discuss some of the problem areas. I have talked to some of the commissioners and identified some of the county roads where we do have problems with illegal dumping of tires. This proposal does not require any matching of funds or any in-kind contribution. However, for purposes of scoring, because it is a competitive grant, I would request that you also consider that we are going to be providing in-kind. And in-kind comes in different forms. It can be labor, it can be materials, it can be supplies, it can be donations. So ours would possibly be the labor, of course. We're going to try to reach out to the City of Alice and City of Orange Grove and City of Fremont to see if we can get some kind of letter of support from them to help us with the cleanup, since it benefits within the city limits as well, so we can get some kind of contribution from them to help support our application. The deadline to submit this is October 29th, and the funding will be for next year.
I'll second it.
I have a motion on the floor, the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms.
All
Moran.
those opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Ms. Moran, for that.
welcome.
It's a big need. It takes a big, something that was on my mind. We get those calls daily on a regular basis about the illegal dumping all over the place. So thank you. And I'm gonna read this resolution of the Jim Wells County Commissioners, Jim Wells County, Texas, authorizing the filing of a grant application with the Coastal Bend Council of Governments for a regional solid waste grants program grant, authorizing the Jim Wells County judge or his designated representative to act on behalf of Jim Wells County in all matters related to the application and any subsequent grant contract and grant project which may result, in pledging that if a grant is received, Jim Wells County will comply with the grant requirements of the CBCOG, the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality in the state of Texas. Whereas the Coastal Bend Council of Governments is directed by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality to administer solid waste grant funds for implementation of CBCOG's adopted regional solid waste management plan. And whereas the Jim Wells County, the state of Texas, is qualified to apply for grants under the request for application. Now therefore it be resolved by County Commissioners of Jim Wells County, Texas, that the Jim Wells County judge or designated representative is hereby authorized to request grant funding under the Coastal Bend Council of Governments request for applications for the Regional Solid Waste Grants Program, and is hereby authorized to sign and submit the grants application. That the city manager or his designated representative is hereby authorized to act on behalf of Jim Wells County, not the city manager. I guess, is that correct? The city manager? County judge or a designated person. I don't know why they put city manager. We'll change that. On behalf of the Jim Wells County judge, in all matters related to the grant application or replace subsequent grant contracts and grant project that may result. That if the project is funded by Jim Wells County, will comply with the requirements. The grant funds and any grant funds, equipment, or facilities will be used only for the purposes for which they are intended under the grant. The project activities will comply with and support the adopted regional and local solid waste management plans adopted in the Coastal Bend region. The Jamal County is not in arrears in payment of any municipal solid waste PO to the state of Texas. Passed and approved in Jamal County Commissioners Court on this day, 8th day of October, 2021. All right. Thank you. All right. Agenda item number 24, discuss and consider take action on payroll and bills submitted by county auditor with exemption of Fund 52, 53, and 54.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. I move that we adjourn this meeting.
A second.
This meeting is adjourned.